Emmerdale's Cain Dingle unleashes his wrath tonight as his wife Moira faces the prospect of losing her beloved farm. Cain is livid on Moira's behalf as the recent slurry spill has far-reaching consequences around the village. In tense scenes, Moira confides in Cain about how it could be the end for her time running Butler's farm after 16 years. Moira's business is facing hefty fines, and a worrying blow to its reputation, after a slurry spillage affected the village's main water supply and poisoned Victoria Sugden's young son Harry. In tonight's episode, it's confirmed that Charles and Claudette Anderson have also been affected by the poisoning drama, although they're not in hospital like Harry. Mackenzie Boyd has been blamed for the unfortunate incident after being framed by his nemesis John Sugden. When Mac crosses paths with Cain at the Woolpack tonight, he tries to reassure his brother-in-law that everything will work out and Moira needn't worry. Mac's flippant attitude towards the troubling situation goes down terribly with Cain, who reacts angrily and even threatens to turn violent. Can Mac find a way back into his family's good books, or are his relationships forever changed thanks to John's sly behavior? Lawrence Robb, who plays Mac, recently told us, Mac thinks he's screwed the whole family business and his sister's going to lose her farm. He also thinks he could have nearly killed Harry. So Mac is absolutely beside himself. There's a scene where he goes to visit Harry in the hospital and Victoria turns him away. John is obviously dealing with his guilt because he knows that he's done it, but Mac thinks that he's done it. Mac is sitting outside saying, "Is he going to die?" John's like, "No, no." There's a moment where they're connecting. They both think they've killed Harry but they're not saying that. He continued, "Moira's furious with Mac. Mac loves Moira, so that's pretty huge. I guess Mackenzie allows the wool to be pulled over his eyes a little bit." John is thrilled that it's the downfall of Mackenzie and he's framing it in a way that he's helping Mackenzie, because that's what John does. But obviously Mackenzie is not privy to any of that. Emmerdale airs these scenes tonight at 7:30 p.m. on ITV1. The episode is also streaming early now on ITVX. Rage boils over as Moira faces losing Butler's farm in Emmerdale drama. In tonight's gripping episode of Emmerdale, long-standing fan favorite Cain Dingle is pushed to the brink as he learns that his wife, Moira, could be on the verge of losing everything. The couple's beloved Butler's farm, which Moira has run for the past 16 years, is now under serious threat after a catastrophic slurry spill triggers a scandal that ripples through the entire village. The incident doesn't just impact Moira and her livelihood, it reaches deeply into the lives of other villagers, poisoning the local water supply and leading to a medical emergency for young Harry Sugden, the son of Victoria Sugden. As the community reels from the aftermath, tensions are sky high, and Cain finds himself unable to contain his fury. Moira's world comes crashing down. For Moira, the farm is more than just a business, it's her life's work and a symbol of everything she's fought for since arriving in the village. The slurry spill, which authorities are now investigating, has left her facing possible fines and irreparable reputational damage. In a heart-wrenching conversation with Cain, Moira reveals the full extent of the crisis. For a woman who has weathered so many storms, this might be the blow that finally knocks her down. The thought of walking away from Butler's farm, a place filled with memories, sweat, and sacrifice, is devastating. Cain, ever the fiercely protective husband, responds with rage. Seeing Moira in despair lights a fire within him. Viewers will see a raw and emotional side of Cain as he vows to stand by Moira, no matter what it takes. More victims emerge as the village reacts. Tonight's episode confirms that the contamination goes beyond Harry Sugden. Charles and Claudette Anderson also suffer from symptoms linked to the poisoned water, though thankfully their condition isn't severe enough to warrant hospitalization. Nonetheless, the panic is spreading, and the village is on edge. As word of the incident spreads, fingers quickly begin to point, and it doesn't take long for a scapegoat to emerge. Becomes the fall guy. Mackenzie Boyd, Moira's brother and Cain's brother-in-law, finds himself at the center of the storm. Though innocent, Mac is being framed for the disaster by his scheming rival, John Sugden. John's manipulation is cunning and precise, turning public perception, and even some family members, against Mac. When Mac encounters Cain at the Woolpack in tonight's episode, he tries to downplay the situation, offering false reassurances that everything will be fine. But Cain, already seething, is in no mood for platitudes. Mac's casual demeanor only infuriates him further, pushing Cain to the brink of physical confrontation. What unfolds is a tense and volatile exchange that could have lasting repercussions on their already strained relationship. Cain's loyalty to Moira is absolute, and anyone, even family, who appears to undermine her is met with his full wrath. Behind the scenes, Lawrence Robb on Mac's emotional turmoil. Lawrence Robb, who portrays Mackenzie, recently opened up about his character's inner turmoil. According to Rob, Mac is racked with guilt and fear, convinced that his actions, or rather, what he believes to be his actions, may have cost young Harry his life and jeopardized Moira's livelihood. Mac thinks he's screwed the whole family business and that his sister's going to lose her farm, Rob revealed. He also thinks he could have nearly killed Harry. In a pivotal scene, Mac attempts to visit Harry at the hospital, only to be turned away by Victoria, who's overcome with grief and anger. The rejection cuts deep, adding another layer of guilt to Mac's growing sense of helplessness. There's a scene where Mac is sitting outside the hospital saying, "Is he going to die?" Rob continued. John's there, saying, "No, no." There's a moment where they're connecting. They both think they've killed Harry, but they're not saying it out loud. John Sugden's scheme tightens. As the plot thickens, viewers will see more of John Sugden's manipulative side. Behind his calm exterior lies a calculating mind, using Mackenzie's vulnerability to his advantage. Though John is the real culprit behind the slurry incident, he expertly frames Mac in a way that makes his guilt seem undeniable. John is thrilled that it's the downfall of Mackenzie, Rob explained. He's framing it in a way that seems helpful, because that's what John does. But Mackenzie doesn't see through it. For Mac, who holds deep affection for Moira and sees her as more than just a sister, the situation is heartbreaking. With Moira furious at him and the rest of the village turning cold, Mac finds himself isolated and unsure of how to redeem himself.